اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. So we have two class today. One is a narrative review, and then the one is a systematic review. So I will invite Dr. WOON from UITM, anatomist from UITM. We will talk about narrative review. So as a postgrad student or maybe lecturer also, the review paper is very important now because we don't have money, but we still can publish with the review paper. So I hope any question we can ask the speaker for today. So, Waalaikumsalam. Without any delay.
Assalamualaikum, Prof.
Oh, Waalaikumsalam. Without any delay, I proceed to Dr. WOON. Maybe this is maybe one way or two way, depends on the speaker. If you can ask in the middle, maybe can also. Okay. So I invite Dr. WOON to give a speech. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Aspa. First of all, let me share the screen first. All right, can you all see?
Not yet. Maybe the connection. Yeah. Now I can see. Yeah.
Oh, you can see. Okay. I have to wait. Yeah, but now I cannot see the chat session actually. Wait a moment. Oh, yeah. Okay. I can't really see the chat session. Okay, we try to make this two-way as much as possible. So if you have any questions, so just please ask in between, okay? All right, so good morning. Today I'm going to start the session by sharing with you the tips and tricks that I use when I write a review article. So before that, let me introduce myself first. I'm Choi from UITM. I'm also an anatomist as well. So just a little bit background information of myself. I actually started doing research since the year of 2004, since I'm doing my undergraduate. So that is my first encounter with research. After that, when I have my master in 2001, that is the time when I really see the beauty of research and really venture into what is the research all about. Okay. So because I'm very serious, because I seriously venture into research during my master, because that is the postgraduate studies. So I started to see the beauty of it because I have a lot of research outcome. For example, master itself, I published 7 papers. PhD itself, I published 5 papers. And the rest of my papers are after my postgraduate studies. So I feel that that is one of the base or one of the background that I have to further push myself into to have more research progression. Okay. Okay, so first of all, I would like to ask you what kind of research to publish. Okay, do you have any idea what kind of literature that we can publish? Just would like to ask all of you.
You mean systematic review?
Yes, systematic review. Any other thing that it comes to your mind when we say that we want to publish a literature? Anything?
Review paper and systematic review.
Okay, review paper, systematic reviews. So most of you, when you do your master and your PhDs, you need to do some kind of experiment. So after you complete your experiment, then you need to publish the papers. So what kind of literature is that actually? Anyone has any ideas?
Is it review paper?
Yeah. No, like when you do an experiment, like now you are in your master or PhDs, so we need to do experiments. So what kind of publication is that actually?
Original paper.
Yes, original paper. So actually, when we categorize the literature, we can categorize that into 3 different categories. We can categorize them into the primary literature, secondary literature, and tertiary literature, okay? So what does we mean by primary? I'm trying to explain the umbrella term first, okay? So what do we mean by primary literature is actually the original research articles, okay? Which means you need to conduct certain kind of experiment, okay? To fulfill certain kind of objective, okay? You come up with a novel finding and therefore you publish the papers. So that is what we call by primary literatures, okay? So primary literatures stand out in a way because primary literature will give you a novel findings, a new findings that other people has not published before, okay? So what we are concerning today is actually secondary literature, okay? Like the word secondary, we actually summarizes the result from a primary literature, okay, within a scope of studies. So therefore, we need to identify what are the scope of studies that we are going to do. And from there, we're going to summarize them in the form of review articles, okay? So that is the concern of today, secondary literature. And tertiary literature is those textbook, dictionary, and so on, okay? Okay, so what is a review articles? Okay, like the name indicates, review articles. So we are going to review a group of articles, okay, in a constructive manners in a specific field, okay? Because when we wanted to we want to analyze it critically, we have to choose a specific field, especially the field that you wanted to understand more about that. So how are we going to do that? We're going to summarize them, classify them, analyze them, and compare them, okay? And what are the data collections that we're going to use? We are going to use previously published literature, and therefore this is called a secondary literatures. Okay, so this function of the literature review is very important because this is one of the way we organize and evaluate the literatures, okay? Especially when you are new into the field, like you are going to start your master's, you're going to start your PhD, or you want to understand certain topics. Usually people start by reading a review articles, because review articles, as you all know, is summarize a group of published papers, let's say 20 papers, 30 papers, or 50 papers. So instead of reading one literature one by one, you are actually reading one paper that summarize probably 50 literatures, and therefore you will have a better understanding on this topic. Okay, so who will be the one that read these review articles? Number one is the expert in the specific research areas. Okay, so what they're going to do is they're going to summarize their particular field so that other people can read them and cite. Okay, students like some of you and researchers, so that you have a better understanding on that particular topics. And the last one is the decision maker. Like for example, now we have the COVID-19 ongoing and all these things. Like for example, let's say they wanted to make some changes in the SOP, or they want to make some changes on the SOP and also some decisions in their country or what. So they will see back all the published literature, collect all the important evidence, then only they will make some changes, because whatever that has been published, whatever that have been reviewed, has a more solid reasons to make some changes and to convince people about that. Okay, so review papers, under the review papers, there are two more subtopics. One is called what we call by narrative review, and another one is what we call by systematic review. So I will cover more on the narrative review, and Dr. Aspa will cover about systematic review. Okay, so the first one, narrative review. So review that you write it in the narrative ways, which means you compare and summarize other people's into one journal. Okay, you summarize a topic, you summarize an area, you summarize an existing theories and models. Okay, so because this is a narrative, okay, so the results, okay, are qualitative and not quantitative. We are not going to measure whether its p-value is significant or not and all this. We're going to do like a literature review in your chapter 2 of your proposal and or your of your thesis, but we're going to publish the paper. So this is what we call by narrative review in a qualitative ways. Okay, so this is why it's important to publish narrative review. Okay, like I told you, there are many kinds of publication before. We have narrative review, we have original articles, which means you publish papers from the result of the experiment that you have done. You have case report here, which means you publish a single case report, something like a case which is very outstanding, out of the norm. You publish that as a case review. Now, there are a research where they have done and compared different kind of literatures, and they found that what the narrative review has the highest impact. The narrative review and the original articles has higher impact factors compared to other kind of literatures. Okay, just wanted to ask you, do you understand what do you mean by impact factors? Okay, so when you publish papers, you know, when you choose papers, people often ask what is the impact factors of the papers, or IF. Do you know what is IF? Anyone? I don't know why I can't see the chat session here actually.
Don't know.
Okay, so impact factors is like the word implies, impact factors. Okay, the papers that give impact. Okay, what do you mean by the paper that give impact? Is the paper that has a lot of citation. Okay, which means there's a paper A. When you publish paper A, there are 50 people who use this paper A into their another literature in another publications. So these impact factors of the particular journal will increase. Okay, so that is what we call by impact factors. Okay, in another similar kind of comparison, it's like a marks. It's like a marks given to a journal. Okay, like when we go to school, we always compare. We want 100 marks. We have 50 marks. So the higher impact factors, okay, which means the paper has a better quality, higher citation, and higher impact. Higher impact means when the people read it, it brings a higher value to the readers. So the higher it is, the better it is. Okay, on the left column here, so it shows that there are a different kind of this is a different journal publications. Okay, content the Matati, JAAD, JAMA, and so on. So you can see that the impact factors of this narrative review is higher than others. And later I will show you why this impact factors is important for you. All right. Okay. Now there are a few other reasons why narrative review is important. Okay. Number one is journal like SAINS. When someone publish a narrative review, so usually it tends to contribute to citation. Because like I said, when you first started in whatever field that you are in, the first thing that you do, because you want to understand more, the first thing you do is you're going to read them. Okay, you're going to read them, and when you read them, the more you understand. When you write your thesis and so on, you're going to cite all these journals. So this actually tends to contribute to the citation. When these contribute to the citation, the impact factor of the journal increase. Okay, if citation increase, impact factor increase. So journal like them. Second reason why we do narrative review is low cost. Okay. For example, let's say you wanted to conduct an experiment, any kind of experiment, probably you need minimum of 20,000 to start an experiment. Okay. 20,000 to start an experiment, you need probably 2 years to get end results. Okay. And then you publish the papers. So you need around 20,000 to publish one paper. But however, for narrative review, you can start with zero costing itself, because some of the journals, they are actually free. So you just spend few months of writing one paper, you get it published, you have one paper. So it's like one experiment that you use. Okay, you use 20,000 or more to publish one paper. Another one, you just zero costing to publish one, or even low cost. Okay, so that is one of the additional value. Like now, it's very difficult to get grant if you are academicians or you're researchers. You know that now is the economy is very bad. It's very difficult to get grant. So let's say you want to start your KPI progress. You want to have some research progression for yourself. Narrative review or article review is something that you should start with, because at least you have some publication ongoing. Okay. Third point is researcher like them, because it summarizes all the evidence, okay, like as mentioned before, and it's also a good learning tools, okay. So this is all the benefits of publishing narrative review. So why, but however, I did not mention anything that how it benefits you, okay? Like I mentioned, journals like them, researchers like them, okay, students like them, it's low cost. But how does it benefit you? Why you need to start? Okay, so that is the main thing that you should put in mind, why you need to start a narrative review, okay? Number one, okay, is actually improve your citation and H index, okay? So all of you should start a Google Scholar account, okay? Because in the Google Scholar account, okay, you create an account on yourself, you put in all your previous publication, you put in there, okay? They will have an automatically they will produce a table on the right hand side here, okay? So this right hand side here will actually summarize all your research progression and achievement for you. This is very important because it's not only for you to monitor yourself, it's also important for other people to look for you and to collaborate with you, okay? And other people can know what kind of researcher you are, okay? So as I told you, why we need to publish a narrative review, because it improves your citation. And how this citation benefits you, because it improves your H index. Can you see the connections? So when you improve the citation, you improve your H index. When you improve your H index, you also will improve your I-10 H index. Now let me go through what does all this mean. Number one is the citation, okay? If you see here, usually they will publish the research progression of your recent 5 years. Citation means the number of your papers being cited or being used by others in other people's citation. Okay, if you can see here, my citation is 151 for the last 5 years. Okay, next is the H index. Okay, H index measures your quality and your quantity of your publication. Okay, measure your quantity of and your quality of your publication. What does this mean is, when people tell you that I have published papers, you not only tell people how many papers you publish. You can publish 100 papers within 5 years. On another, that is quantity, how many papers you publish. In another way, people also wanted to know your quality of your research, okay? So how do people measure your quality of your research? Few ways. Number one is they want to see what kind of paper that you publish, whether it's ISI or Scopus, okay? ISI is much better than Scopus, okay? Now the next thing is how many citations that your one particular being cited, okay? The more people cited your papers, which means the paper that you write has more impacts, okay? More benefits to other people, and therefore your H index will increase, okay? So if you can see here, for the recent 5 years, my H index is 8. Okay. Then the next question you will ask, so how do I know whether this H index is considered high or low? Okay. They say that, okay, if you have a 20 years of research experience, 20 years, your H index of 20 is considered good. If you have 20 years experience, 20 is considered good. But if you have 40, it's very outstanding. Okay. So try to achieve 20 in 20 years. That is for your H index, okay? Now, IH index. So IH index is number of papers which is being cited more than 10, okay? Let's say you have this one particular paper which is cited more than 10 times, so your H index is 1, okay? If like in this case, I-10, I have 5, means I have this particular 5 papers where there are more than 10 journals, where I have more than 10 citations. So all this is important for you because that is how you portray yourself. Okay, let's say you go outside and you give a talk. Let's say you are being introduced by peers. You don't have to tell people how many papers I have published and what are the quality or quantity paper you published. You just have to tell people what are your H index, and people will already know what to where you stand. Okay. So you write narrative review, it will tends to contribute to your citation. When your citation increase, it will improve your H index. As simple as that. Second reason is when your H index improve, okay, people tends to invite you to be their editorial or review panels. Okay, so you can join some particular journals, okay, to be their editorial panels. And third reason why the narrative review benefits you is because the journals will invite you to be a reviewer, okay? This is part of the reviewing process. Like people wanted to publish, they will have 2 to 3 reviewers to review your paper to judge whether it is acceptable for publication or not. And next thing is why all this is important. This is already important because this will be your selling points when you have the interview. Interview here has 2 meanings, okay? One is postgraduate interview. Some of the university, if you wanted to enter their PhD programs, and or some of the supervisors, they will interview you first before they're willing to take you into a certain PhD projects or they want to take you under it. So they will not. So they will ask you how many papers you have published, what type of paper you have published, how many research experience that you have, etc., etc. So if you are someone that you have published original articles, you have published narrative reviews, you have published meta-analysis, you have published systematic review, then you have this will be your selling points because you have experience in different kind of publication as well. Okay, another thing is job interview. Okay, nowadays when job interviews, you don't only talk, let's say you want to be an academician, okay, you don't only talk about your teaching experiences. So they will look into a few areas. One is your teaching experiences, of course, your qualification as well. Second thing, they will also look into your research experience because that is what needed as an academician. And thirdly, of course, your administrative position and also on. Okay, and all these, your H index and your citation, your types of publication that you have done. So this will also be your selling point when you ask for promotion. Okay. And lastly, I believe that most of you, when you are entering the academician's field, okay, one of the things that you need to do is student supervision. Okay, so you have to have the hands-on experience on different kind of publication before you are able to supervise a student. So this is why you also need to have an experience in narrative review, especially. And when your H index improve and all this, of course, students also will have more confidence on you to being supervised by them. Okay. So now I will move on. So far until now, everything okay? Okay, yeah. Okay. So I will move on. Okay. So if you look into all different kind of YouTube teachings, or you attended any kind of workshops, how to write a narrative review. So these are 3 main steps that you do. So I collect all the information that I have and I put this into 3 simple steps for you to start writing a narrative review. Okay. So it's divided into 3 different stages. One is the pre-writing stage. One is what you do during writing stage and what you do after you write. Okay. So now let's go through one by one first. First, a pre-writing stage, okay? Okay. When I first started writing narrative review, I actually consulted a researcher who has a lot of experience writing. And this is what he told me as well. So you have to find a topic, an area of your interest, and you review around 20 articles, okay? You read through these 20 articles, and when you read through these 20 articles, you will have certain understanding on that particular topic. And from there, you generate a research questions, okay? Because when you screen through these 20 topics, you will have an idea what are the areas which has not been explored or what are the areas which has not been reviewed. So from there, you generate a research question because you need to generate research questions so that you know what kind of title that to write, okay? So you write that research question, okay? Then after that, you analyze, then you identify the organization. Organization for narrative review is pretty standardized. These are the 5 things where you need to include in the narrative review. Title, abstracts and the keywords, introduction, body, and reference. Okay, it sounded very easy. Okay, now you have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you enter the writing stage. Okay. So you are putting all these, which I will explain it further. As I told you, the first thing is you read through all the 20 topics, okay? Now you already know what you're going to write. Okay, so you know what you're going to write. Of course, you think of a topic itself. So the topic that you do must be simple and general. So when the audience, when the readers read the title, they know what kind of contents of your writing. Like for example, this is one, estimation of age in forensic anthropology. Historical perspective and recent methodology advances. So by reading this title, you already know that they're going to tell you, okay, what are the previous method, previous perspective, and what are the previous and current method that they use when they analyze, when they estimate the age, okay, of that particular victims. Okay, so this type of title, it will attract you because it's concise, it's precise, it's simple enough to bring the message across. Okay, so after the title, you have an abstract. Okay, abstract usually is around 250 to 300 words. Okay, it depends on what type of journal that you send to. But this is the forensic science research, another Q1 papers. Okay, so this actually they just write like 3 to 4 sentences of the abstract, which is very fine. As long as those abstract, when you read the abstracts, you know what kind, it further explains what the title and the contents of your research. Okay. Okay, after the title, the abstracts, the next thing you do is introductions. I find that there are a lot of people, they have problem writing introductions, but these are my tips on you for how to write, easy way on how to write an introduction. Okay, now that you have title, okay, I take all these title as the keyword. Okay, like if you see the title that they use, age in forensic anthropology is the first keyword. Okay, historical perspective is the second keyword. Recent methodology is the third keyword. So what you do in introduction is you take these keywords from the title and you further expand that. Okay, like age in forensic anthropology, if you see how they categorize, this is all the explanation on the age in forensic anthropology. Historical perspective, this one they talk about the historical perspective. Recent methodology, they are going to summarize. Okay, they just summarize it. Okay, these are the summarizers of the details containing to the recent methodology used in the forensic anthropology. And lastly, you include your objective use. Okay, so you just use this, and introduction was being written. Okay, so it's very easy. Okay, so introduction, normally people ask you, or normally you may ask, okay, how many pages or how many words needed for the introductions? Okay, usually introduction is 10% of the entire script. Okay, 10%, usually 1 pages, maximum 2, not more than that. Okay, so introductions. After the introductions, okay, is the body itself. Okay, because it's too long. Okay, so I'm just going to show you what are the body that they use. Okay, so these are the paper that I showed you earlier. Okay, okay, it's the same paper, estimation of the age forensic, this one. Okay, so if you see that these are all the body that they use. Okay, how you wanted to what kind of body that you want to use, there's no right or wrong. You can add on extra. There's no there's no specific numbers of the subtopic to write for the narrative review, as long as all these subtopic that you use covers the entire title that you use. Okay, okay, so using the keyword that you use for the introductions, you further expand that in as the subtopic. Okay, if you can see in this literature here, the subtopic is the first, age estimation, history development, recent research, estimation, estimating age of the living. So there are 4 subtopics containing to this. Okay, so how to formulate this subtopic? You also use the keywords from the title itself and you formulate it. Of course, because this is narrative review, you need to gather all kind of evidence, all kind of literatures. You have to compare and contrast the result pertaining to this subtopic and you do it. Okay, let's look at the first one. Okay, so this is the age estimation. So they will put all kind of information related to the age estimations of imager into one paragraph. Okay, so you need to compare and contrast. Okay, what do you mean compare and contrast? Probably this literature, this certain group of the researcher has the A result. So this A result has a positive finding. Maybe the group B researcher has a negative finding. So you compare the result of the A and B. Okay. Second way of you doing this, you also can agree. It's an agreement kind of thing. Group A has a positive result. Group C, D, E also have positive result. So you group all the positive result into one. Okay. So that is another way of writing it. Okay. So the same goes to the historical. Okay. So the historical. Okay. You can see that they put all the literature, all the references here. Okay. Then recent research. Okay. And after that, they have the estimating age of the living. Okay, so they group everything all together. So you can see that they also view different type of methods. Okay, they use different kind of one more thing to highlight here is when you do this, you have to use if preferably that you use the most recent 10 years kind of references. Okay, so that is what you put in the body. You highlight the important results of your published articles. Okay. You also mention type of experiment done. Okay. The body. Okay. And then you point out any controversial. Okay. And you have to compare and contrast as I mentioned before. And one of the things that usually reader love is schematic diagram, figures or tables. Okay. It's not a must to have, but it's very good to have. Usually in my review papers, I usually love to include schematic diagram, figures or tables. Okay. One of the reasons is because when people Google for a certain topic, some of them love to go to the Google images there. So from the Google, let's say you have schematic diagram, figures or tables, it's easier for them to look for your papers because usually when people want to understand a certain topic, they will see schematic diagram or tables. Okay, that's the easiest way because people don't like to read so many words. People like to read tables, figures, and all this. So if people find it easier to find your papers, they will use your papers, they will cite your papers. So remember just now what I told you, citation will lead to a better H index. Okay, so that will bring extra advantages for you. So try when you write a narrative review, at least try to write a tables. Okay. Like, I show you another example on how this schematic diagram, figures or tables make your reading more interesting. Okay, let's say this is another review articles from the Anatomy Journal of Africa. Okay, the title is Variation in Dimension and Shape of the Thoracic Cage with Aging, an Anatomical Review. Okay, so from the title, you know they're talking about the different dimension and shape of the thoracic cage in related to aging. Okay, I just wanted to screen through. Okay, so they have a lot of information related to different bones, related to aging and so on. Okay, so let's say you have a diagram, you have figures. Usually people will stop and look at that. Okay, so they will have a different kind of changes of the shapes of the thoracic cage related to aging. Okay, and they use different kind of radio imaging. Okay, okay, here they use a CT scan. Okay, and here they have a bone reconstruction images of the CT scan of the thorax, and they compare with different age group. Okay, people will usually pause and read your papers. Okay, and this is also easily Googleable. Okay, and they also show how they do the measurement and so on. And they have a different plane. Okay, they have a sagittal plane, they have a cross-sectional plane, and so on. Next thing they do is they do a summarize of the table. You see, you don't have to read the entire 10 pages of the literature article review. One table itself, they summarize everything. Okay, they summarize. It does not only have a figure, it also have a table, and it also have a schematic diagram like this. Okay, you can see that the elderly is more kyphotic compared to the infants and adult and so on. And they have a different component where they review. Okay, so this type of article review will actually bring a higher impact, a more reviews, and a higher citation. So therefore, that is what I said, that at the body of your rental review is very good to use your schematic diagram or figures. Okay, lastly is the conclusion. Okay, conclusion is very different from introduction. Okay, because in the conclusion, usually the first line you summarize everything into just 1 or 2 sentences. Okay, conclusion, usually they will tell you what are the implications, what are the significance, how this applies, and how this changes policy. Okay, so these are all the things that is included in the conclusion. Okay, for example, this is the summary, okay, of the paper that I showed you earlier. So they will tell you a summary and future direction, which means implication of your studies. Okay, how by grouping all these literature and the research is actually bring some significant values, okay, for the policy maker, for example, and so on. And lastly, the references, of course. Okay, so the references that you use here preferably is within 10 years, and as you write, you use your referencing software. Okay, you don't do it manually because as you write, you have a lot of things. Okay, one more thing I like about reading narrative review is at the references itself, you can also find different kind of reviews that they use, and and also the references that they use for this particular study. So they actually assist you in writing your thesis or your proposal. So this is all the summary slide that have used. So what is needed in a narrative review? You need to have a title, abstract, a body, introductions, body where you separate it into different subsections. Okay, and the body, please include schematic diagram, figures, or tables. Not compulsory, but it's good to have. Okay, conclusion and referencing. Okay, so these few things that you need use. Okay, and after you write this is all the post-writing stage. You send to 1 or 2 people to proofread. Okay, you check your grammar, and then you format it according to the format of the journals that you wanted to send. Then you submit it, and good luck to you. Hopefully, it will get accepted in a way. Okay, so in the summary, what you need to do in a narrative review. Okay, so you have to find a research topic. Okay, formulate the research aim. Okay, organize your review papers, put in all the important journals. Okay, you proofread and you submit. Okay, this is what I summarize from all the YouTube videos that I watched when I first started and all the advices that I got from people. However, this is just for my own personal experience. However, among all these 3 steps, there are one thing that doesn't work for me. Okay, it might work for you, but just one thing that it might not work for me. So therefore, the next few slides, I would like to share my own experience on how I do it. Okay, this is a general one. I want to share with you how I do it. Okay, like I told you, a lot of people, or when you attend any kind of workshop, they will tell you review at least 20 articles. Am I right? Review at least 20. I follow the same thing, but it doesn't work for me. And I have another way. Because when I review 20 to 30 articles, I actually have difficulty formulating a research aim or research question. I don't know where to start on. Then after that, I found out my own way, which I use until now, and I find it quite effective. And you see if it works for you. Okay, so I'm going to show you some tips and tricks on the personal experience. So the first thing that I told you, you have to find the right topic first. If you can't find the right topic, you can't formulate the title, and if you can't formulate the title, there's no research question. You can't really write out the outline. So the first thing, you have to find the right scope or right title. Just one thing, it's very rare for you to find an area that never been published. Of course, when you want to review a paper, you have to find an area when nobody write about that before, correct or not? If people has already reviewed that kind of particular paper, then what for you review another one, the same one, right? So the first one, topic selection. Okay, I read 30, 40 papers, I still confused. I don't know what things to write. So therefore, this is what I do. Number one, I just change the parts of drugs or the population extra. I just change one thing. I just find one or two review articles that I find interesting. Then I just make some twists and I make some changes. For example, take this paper, for example, variation in dimension and shape in thoracic cage with aging and anatomical review. Okay. So what I do is, okay, I change the bony parts. Okay. Instead of using thoracic cage, there are 206 bones in your body. Other than thoracic cage, you can always review any other kind of bones. Okay, you can take femur, you can take those bones that people hardly think of, hyoid bone and all these, those infamous bone, thoracic, coccyx, and all these things. So instead of reading 20 papers, I just choose one or article that I think is interesting. I just change. Okay, thoracic, probably I just want to use femur bone, for example. So I probably change variation in dimension and shape changes of femur bone with aging. A narrative review. So that is one title itself. But there are two more things that you need to do. You can't just simply change and you want to start to write it. There are two more things that you need to do by just twisting it. Okay. The first thing you're going to do is you have to check whether other people has done before. Like let's say I take this, I want to change this to femur. I have to check if other people review this kind of thing before. If it has been reviewed, I will not take it. I will change to other bone. Okay, for example, okay, let's say after you check it thoroughly, nobody has reviewed, okay, shape changes with aging in femur bone. Nobody has done before. Okay, second thing that you need to do is you have to check whether the information is enough or not. So you have to just simply check whether you have enough material to write or not. So that's enough material means whether there's enough original articles before. Whether it's enough material or enough original articles for you to start or not. Okay, let's say there's only one or two papers on the femur bone. Of course, it's not suitable because it's what? How can you write a narrative review by just using two papers, right? For example, okay, this is one the method that you use. Okay, you just change the part. Okay, from there you already formulate the title and other steps is the same like what I explained to you earlier. Second thing or second tips that I use is narrow down. Okay, what do I mean by narrow down? For example, this is another title, Ancestry Estimation in Forensic Anthropology, a review. Okay, what I mean by narrow down is because this title is a broad one. Okay, it's a broad one. Ancestry estimation means they are talking about any other kind of bone. Okay, so you can add here ancestry estimation of whatever bone that you want, okay, or whatever area or region, not only bone, you can talk about thoracic cage is the region itself, okay? You can talk about the neck region, a region itself, for example, in the forensic anthropology. A review, okay, other than probably you don't want to add the region or the bone, you can add on the method. They are talking about all different types of method that you use to estimate an ancestry. You can narrow down the whole title by adding on the method that you use, okay? For example, geometry morphology method. For example, conservative method, okay? For example, DNA analysis or whatever method, okay? So once you make some changes, you are not doing the same as other people. You are actually narrow down a scope from what other people has done before. So that is what I do, okay? So I narrow down. Of course, after you narrow down, you have to do two more things. You have to see first, you have to see whether other people have done it before or not. Second thing, you have to check whether there's enough material to write or not. Now, the third thing is you widen up the topic. Sometimes you find out, you think that this is the field or area that you want to do, okay, but they are very specific into that, okay. You actually can widen it up, okay. DNA recovery and analysis from skeletal material in modern forensic context, okay. You don't want to talk about just DNA analysis. You wanted to talk about metric analysis. Means metric analysis means anything that you can measure, you want to measure, you want to put it inside. So some people like that kind of thing. It's a broad thing. Okay, people don't want to read just one small area. People want to read the bigger area. That is also another research title. You widen up, then of course you need to do two more things. You have to check whether there's enough material and whether other people has done before. Okay, then you also have to find your own writing styles. Okay, some people they will. What I like to do is I will, whatever things I will do, I will just copy paste. I will insert the reference. Okay, copy paste, insert reference, copy paste, insert reference. I will have a whole paragraph by itself. Then no need I do the paraphrasing. Okay, which means I not paragraphing, paraphrasing, which means I change the sentence structure and all this. I try a different method before. Sometimes I copy one sentence, I change the sentence structures, then I put in the references. I find it a bit difficult. To find what an efficient. So I copy paste the whole thing into one paragraph that I think is very satisfying. Okay, put in all. Then the next thing I do is I put in all the references. Then the next thing I do is I paraphrase everything together. So when I do only one thing. So I find it's easier. Then when you write a narrative review, you have to know what is your right timing. Right timing here means a few things. Okay, whether you're a morning person or you're a night person. Okay, if you're a morning person, you do it in the morning. If you're a night person, you do it in the night time. A lot of people say I don't have time to write. Okay, so you also have to know your right timing. Let's say you are a lecturer, you are not busy the entire year. Okay, there are semester break in between. So that is your right timing. So like now during the MCO, we don't have teaching and all this. That's the best time to write narrative kind of review. So during MCO, I actually written 3. So let's say you are the students, you also need to know your right timing. There are sometimes you don't have things. I mean, you probably you're waiting for your Viva, for example. So you have 1 or 2 months in between. So that's the best time for you to write. Okay. I think this will be the last one, and which I think is a very important tips. You have to have the right team members. Okay. This is my first ever narrative review, which I wrote it during my PhDs. So I put a baby picture here because I feel that time I'm at the crawling stage. So what I mean by right team member is because this is my first narrative review here. This is the first time I'm doing. I don't know how to write. So I actually consulted my ex-supervisors. I consulted a few people. I watched all these YouTube members and all this. So these are the people who give me a lot of input on how to write. And when you first writing, you write everything by yourself first, so that you have a few hands-on experience on how to write it. Okay, and because it's my first time, so I took a long time to write. I think when I took this, I wrote continuously. I took 3 months to write one paper. 3 months, and 3 months I wouldn't say it's a long time or the short time, because when I write these papers, I also have a few experiences in writing all the previous papers. As I told you, from my master project itself, I already have 7 papers. So I have a few writing experiences before. So 3 months is not too long, but it's not too short. Can be shortened, can be faster is more. So as I told you, why narrative review can be a good impactful papers, because this is my first narrative reviews, and this is an ISI papers. Okay, for your that new in research, there are 2 types of papers. One is ISI, one is Scopus. What's the difference between these two? Easier way to say that ISI is like BMW car. Okay, our Scopus is probably like our local car. So one is very high class, one is probably a medium range kind of thing. Of course, the lower class is those papers we have no index at all. Okay, so these ISI papers, a bit higher ranking papers. This is Q1 papers for you that you might not know or new. Q1, there are 4 Q, okay, 4 quarters of Q, okay, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 papers, okay. Okay, so Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 simply means that they are journals we are categorized. It's like a ranking itself. The group of journals which are categorized into the top 25%, they are considered Q1 papers. Okay, 25 to 50% of the ranking of the journals is the Q2 papers. Ranking means citation, quality, etc., etc. So this is the ISI paper, Q1 paper, impact factor 5.8. Okay, impact factor I've explained earlier. So this is a good example. I want to show to you that narrative review papers you can have it a high impact factors. Okay, so try to write narrative review, especially when you're still learning. Just write it. Okay. Then next things, this is what, okay, from crawling I started to stand up. Okay, so this is what I publish after I start working. Okay, so after I start working, I do not have any grant in my hands, but I wanted to have some career. I just wanted to have some research progression. I don't want to have any gap of years in between that where I don't have any publication at all. So I started to group a group of lecturers who have experience in writing. Everyone just write one small little parts. Okay, compared to last time, I just write the whole thing myself. Now everyone just write a small topic. I merge them all and I publish a paper. So few benefits of you doing that when you started your early career. Okay, so this one thing is you shorten your time. Instead of writing the whole manuscript, you just write one or two paragraph, one or two subtopic itself. And second thing is you can share the costing. This is a very famous papers, okay, but the costing is very high. One thing good about you collaborate with other people from different universities is you got to share the costs. So at the end, the university just pay around 2,000. The university very happy, everyone very happy. Everyone got ISI papers, everyone Q1 papers. My advice is you don't write just a subtopic if you are just a beginner. Okay, people told me that write at least have an experience of writing at least 10 different kind of papers before you do this kind of let people write this subtopic kind of thing. Okay, this probably if you are at the beginning of your early career and you have some experience in writing, then you can do this because you want to keep all this fast moving and all these things. Okay. So what people told me is really true. Have at least 10 papers in hand first before you do this. Okay, have your experience on your own. Okay, experience is something that you gain by yourself. So nobody going to take away from you. Okay, and nobody can give you. Only you yourself can give it to you. Okay, and from this we formulate somehow when we do these tasks, we have a group of writing people. So we actually motivate each other to write and all these things. So these are the 3 papers that I write during MCO because everyone started to, I just write one small part, different people write 3 different parts. So during MCO, I already write 3 different topics, okay, within from 3 different people from 3 different universities. Why I think it's good to have right team members also, because so you can also build some international collaborations. Like this one, I actually met one of the researcher from Taiwan in one of the conferences. Then after that, we just add each other contact. We just talk about it, and they say, "Oh, we can write a review papers together." So we write a review papers together. Then after that, the good thing is from these papers, they are actually very rich. They actually pay the whole publication fees itself. Not every publication needs fees, okay, but this particular one needs fees. Some of them are free. This one they just pay everything by themselves. So it's a win-win situation for all of us. Okay, so here I'm also the first author for this paper. So this is one of the most recent paper which I published this year, early this year. Okay, so these are some of the important people always ask. Okay, what are the length of the papers? Okay, so length of papers. Actually, some of the journals they have mini review and normal review. Mini review, not every journal has. Okay, mini review needs around 3,000 words. Okay, a very short one actually. Whereas the normal narrative review is doubly up around 6,000 words. Okay, so it's not that difficult to write. Okay, from the length of paper, if you copy, like I told you, but I always copy paste and enter the references. Okay, I'm just going to talk about number 3. Okay, so how many references? Usually around 50 or 100 references. It's not that difficult. You might be shocked by looking at the number of the references, but then when you actually copy paste and then add on the references using whatever people they have published before you edit, then it's very easy to hit the numbers. Okay, and one of the common questions people always ask is what then should I use in the narrative reviews? Okay, if we are talking about the abstract, you are always use present tense. Introductions, usually people use present tense, especially the objective part. When you cite other people, when you take the experiment where other people has already, when you include the data or the experiment where other people has been used, then you use past tense. Okay, so basically the whole body mainly is the past tense. Otherwise, when we talk about the future direction, when we talk about the objective and all this, you use a present tense. Okay. Just want to tell you that please never stop learning, because life never stop teaching. The more you write, the more you know. I just, like the first narrative review, I took around 3 months. After that, I actually can write within a week. Okay. So the more you write, the better you are. Don't be afraid to try. I think that's all sharing from me. If you have any question, please, you may ask. I hope that I make things clear for all of you. Right.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Choi Woon, with the excellent talk and very energetic and excellent tips. I think I learned also many things from Dr. Choi Woon. So I open from the floor to ask any questions, around 5 minutes, and then we see how. Okay. Any questions?
I saw a question from Dr. Hanim. How to know how much is enough? How much means?
How much means when you say that you need to have some certain materials to do a review, right? Can you hear me?
Yes.
So you need to have adequate amount of articles. So how
Yes.
much, like 10 articles is enough, or 20 articles is enough to make a review, or is that's what I mean? Understand?
Okay. Yeah, that's a very good question. Actually, right, people say that at least you must have 30 and above, but there are people who say that there's no minimum and maximum, as long as you fulfill all the requirement, you fulfill all the materials needed for all these subtopics. Usually how people manage is all the subtopic you write at least 1 to 2 pages. Okay, 1 to 2 pages, usually you will need around 20. Okay, 10 within 10 to 20, it depends on how you write. Okay, so let's say you have 4 subtopics, 10 to 20, that makes around 50 to 60. Okay, I also mentioned just now that the references usually range from 50 to 100. That's actually, if you wanted to have 40, 50 is still okay, as long as you cover the topic well enough.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? I hope I make it clear for you.
Very clear, very clear, very clear.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, very clear, Dr. Celine. Thank you very much for the
Alright.
information. It's quite informative.
All right. All right, I think that's all from me today. If there's no other questions, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions? No questions. Okay. So you want to break or you want to continue? Hello.
Continue. We continue.
Continue.
Yes, continue.
Yeah.
You can go to the toilet ke apa ke, it's up to you. Alright.
How long?
Around less than 1 hour. So before 12, before 12 we will stop lah, insyaAllah. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Alright. But if you have other things to do, you can go out and whatever lah. Okay. Alright. Just so you see my slide? Turun sini ya. Kenapa macam ni? Alamak. Kenapa slide dia macam ni? Sekejap.
Oh, you right click and
Huh?
then you put there as present. You unclick the presenter view. There. Okay.
Yes, we see.
Okay ke? Kenapa dia tak full screen? Kenapa tak full screen? Ni,
This one click and see. No, the right one.
slideshow.
Slideshow.
Jadi macam ni. Kenapa dia tak keluar apa ni? Full screen. Normal. Baik. Sekejap. Setting lain. What happened? Sorry. Kenapa kecil? You nampak penuh ke nampak kecil? Hello?
It looks small.
Small lah.
Small.
Hey. Okay. Okay?
Can you right click or what?
Now big
You go
or
to your PowerPoint. Small.
small?
Very
Boleh apa? Jadi? Okay.
Kecil.
Kecil? Alahai.
Asta, can you go to your PowerPoint first?
Ah,
Then you right click. You click escape. Go to your PowerPoint. Where's your PowerPoint?
this?
This one. Your PowerPoint.
Tak nampak?
You right click on the PowerPoint. Can't see anything. This one look like your desktop actually.
My desktop, yeah.
You go to your PowerPoint, you right click, there's something to set up there actually.
You nampak apa sekarang?
I can see your desktop view.
Okay. Ni I open my PowerPoint. You see?
I can't see, can others see?
Ayo.
I can see, but it's very smaller. It look very small.
It looks like 1/3 of the screen is just shown. I
So,
can see, but it's not full screen.
so how lah sharing? Aduh, sabar je lah. Relax, okay. So, yang mana ni?
Is this your PowerPoint? Can you open your PowerPoint first?
Okay, I open my PowerPoint. This one?
I can't see your PowerPoint.
La ilaha illallah. Mana ni? If I close back,
Okay, you open your PowerPoint again. You open your PowerPoint again.
yeah, I open my PowerPoint. Tinggal I'm not sure the sharing tu. Sharing tu nak tekan mana ya?
Oh, you click, you share. You unshare first, then you share again. You stop sharing and then you share again.
Sekejap. Dia tak apa ni? Oh, kat sini. Stop sharing. Okay. Sharing. Sharing screen, okay. Sharing screen. And then share
Better now.
something new. Nampak?
Yeah, here we go. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, here we go. I can see.
Okay.
Nabas. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning to Dr. Celine, the speaker for today. My friends from the ITM, Dr. Noraina and Dr. Nagam, and all my postgrad students. So today is a continuation of the second topic of Dr. WOON. So actually, I story about my experience before. I did my PhD in 2 years, but in 1 year of my PhD, I don't know what to do, because the methodology that I did is nobody did in Malaysia. So I waiting 1 year without do anything. So but I don't want to waste my time. So I search for a review paper. For your information, I searched for 1 year to do systematic reviews, because I'm not confident to do systematic reviews. Even though I went many around 10 or 11 course of systematic review, but I don't confidence, because as you know, the systematic review in my university USIM, there are two specialists in systematic review. They did a systematic review as a PhD. So I think, ya Allah, that means I need to do 3 years for systematic review. So around 1 year, I did my first paper of the systematic review. But after I did the systematic review, I found that it is so easy actually. So I teach my friends to do systematic review. Dr. Nasir, like that time from Mesir. So he managed to do the systematic review in 1 month using my method. So I hope that the sharing, because 1 year I found how to do systematic review is difficult to use other method, but I formulate my own method. So I hope that you all also can did systematic review in 1 month. So this is a two-way discussion. You can stop me in whatever you want to ask, okay? Because we are adult, not a kindergarten lecture, only one talk, so you can face to face. So introduction to systematic review. So as we know, the systematic review is the highest ranking of evidence. So we have a systematic review, we have randomized control trial, cohort studies, case control studies, case series, and also expert opinion. But the systematic review is the highest ranking of evidence. Evidence. So if you did a systematic review, no other evidence is more power than the systematic review. So as we know, every day there is a 46 randomized control trials published and 1,000 Medline new article published daily, and 6,000 biomedical articles published daily. So annually, every year, 3 million articles or 30 journals, 30,000 journals published every year. So if we we late 1 day, actually we miss many things. Even though you say, oh, I know the latest. No, actually every day, every second, there is a changes in the world. So we need to up to date. We need to always up to date in whatever current things. As in COVID-19, as we see, initially we in the university is very stressed because initially we planned for 1 year. In December the student can come because of COVID, and suddenly alhamdulillah COVID-19 in Malaysia is okay. Suddenly change again, so people student can come on July. So everything changed very fast. So even though our initial plan is like this, suddenly change according to the changes happen. So you all cannot focus in one thing, but can sometimes will be changed repeatedly every day, every second. So nowadays, if you even though you are old, but if you not follow the changes, people younger than you, for example, your students may be better than you, as they are very expert in IT. So we as a lecturer, future lecturer, we must be faster as changes happen. So we cannot ignore the changes because we face with our millennium group, which is students. Students are very fast. If you tell lie to them, they know you lie. Or if you don't know, you say don't know. Don't say yes, but your fact is wrong. So they will be ashamed for us if we do mistake and we not admit it. So the knowledge now, for example, the hypertension cited medline is increased from 1966 to 1996 and in 30 years. Well, so I think in nowadays it will be increased because the internet is around this year, 1998 and above. So with the increasing of the internet sophistication and the software, so the knowledge is very fast. Even though I think I can take a PhD 10 times, 10 PhD in one time, maybe. We can see because of the IT, because the internet. Before this, we need to go to the library and protestate and everything. But now everything e-book, the textbook, e-book, everything is on e-book. And we can summarize all the 20 books in one time only. With the technology, the software will help us to find out the important thing and everything. So I think we need to use the internet or the changes very fast. So more research published in medical journal is too poorly done or insufficient relevant to be clinical use. So too much information but too little time. There is a simple too much information around for people to keep up to date. On top of this, high quality information is often not easy to find. What is a review paper? When we talk about review, it's a generic term for any attempt to synthesize the results and conclusion of the two or more publication on given topic. So we review, we read, after we read, we need to synthesize, we need to analyze, and then we come out the result and also the conclusion. This is a review. But if you read, but you cannot synthesis and you cannot go to conclusion, that's mean you not review. You not read, you just see, okay? So some reviews are usually based on narrative or commentary are produced a contents expert. So what is a problem with an expert opinion? Before this, we just cite what this professor said and some other said. But some professors said like this and other professors said like this. This is an expert opinion. So which one is, what is the problem of expert opinion? Actually, there is a lacking of the expert opinion. Professor Paul, this is example. Professor Paul Klipschild has described how Nobel Prize winning biochemist Linus Pauling used selective quotes from the medical literature to prove his theory that vitamin C helps you live longer and feel better. And Professor Paul cakap. So when Klipschild and his colleagues searched the literature systematically for evidence, they found that one or two trials did not strongly suggest that vitamin C could prevent the onset of the common cold. There were far more studies which did not show any beneficial effect. For example, we buy something lah, we buy some food or whatever. They said, oh, this is very important. They will help in in cure your sickness or whatever. So we need to do a systematic review to see betul is true or not. So for example, initially the expert said vitamin C is good for common cold, but after did a systematic review, there is many other research that actually did not show any beneficial effect. So unfortunately, expert reviewers often make conflicting recommendation. For example, I and Dr. Celine, maybe we have any different opinion. There is a conflict, and their advice frequently lags behind and inconsistent with the best available evidence. So sometimes when we see all of the world now, this country say different, this country different, and this country different. So what is the best? So we need to do a systematic review to find the best solution for our problem. So the use of unsystematic approach to collecting and summarizing the evidence. The problems are too much information and too little time, many too poorly done or insufficiently relevant to be clinically useful, and many have conflicting results. On top of this, high quality information is often not easy to find. Bias. Bias means something that will be cause a consistent deviation from the truth. This is different from the play of chance. There are three possible sources of bias in reviews. Biasing from the studies includes in the review. Biasing arising from the study not include in the review. And biasing arising from the way the review is done. Even though we do reviews, there will also a bias. How to minimize the bias? We need to do as much as possible to minimize the effects of anything that will cause the result to deviate from the truth. What is a systematic review? Systematic review is a comprehensive locate, evaluates, and synthesize all the available literature on a given topic. We do review by systematic. With the systematic review, we can categorize the good paper, the bad, and also to make sure that we not miss the important information. Using a strict scientific design, which must itself be reported in the review. So a systematic review therefore aims to systematic, explicit, reproductive. The systematic part of systematic review is all about minimizing bias in the way the review is carried out. So, apa lagi? The systematic is different from narrative review. So from the narrative review, we just divide take 30 paper and then do the summarize subheading and heading from the paper. But the systematic review, we collect from the 100,000 or more paper and narrow to 14 paper. Okay. There are difference. There are difference. So the UK Medical Research Council now requires systematic review has been prepared before it commissions a new trial. So the question has not already been answered, and the result of the previous research are used in designing the new trial. So I just you can go to the Cochrane, www.cochrane.org. So the Cochrane ni is a organization that collect all the systematic review. This is the father of Cochrane, father of systematic review. The name is Aki Cochrane. So section 2. Now we conduct a systematic review. If I talk and you don't know how to do, it's not good. So I give a tips how to conduct a systematic review. So there are a few stages of systematic review. One is planning the review. You need to plan. You take your paper and then you plan. Identify the need for review and documenting the methodology. Number 2, after you plan, you need to conduct. Conducting the review. How to conduct the review? You need to find, you need to select, you need to appraise, you need to extract, you need to synthesize. Number 3, reporting and dissemination, writing up and disseminating the result of the review. Okay, I give you plan around 2 days. And then this conducting review will be maybe 2 weeks. and reporting in another 1 week. So you have 1 month to finish up your first systematic review. Okay, first we need to develop our review protocol. The special of the systematic review, we have a protocol. Okay. First is we need to formulating review question. You need to have a question, what the topic that you need to cover. And second, we need to search and selecting the study. Searching also have a tips how to do a search and how to select the studies. Number 3 is a study quality assessment. You need to read the selecting studies and study the quality assessment and extracting data from the studies, and lastly, data synthesis. So the most formative review question is the first and most important decision in preparing a review. It is to determine its focus. So you ask yourself, what things you want to review? Ask yourself before you do a systematic review. What you want to do? What you want to know? For example, you want to do a PhD in thoracic vertebra, for example. So what you want to know about thoracic vertebra? So you need to know what is the things that you want to know. The things that I like of the systematic review is at the same time we can download all the article that we want to write in our thesis, and also the systematic review will cover the chapter 2, which is literature review, and the chapter discussion, chapter 5. So when you do the systematic review, where you produce paper, you finish up your literature review, at the same time you will finish up your discussion. So all is a 3 stone in 1 stone. Apa dah peribahasa tu. You don't think you waste your time. No, in 1 month actually you can finish up your thesis gitu. So actually you can finish up your thesis in 3 months. 3 months focus. And then so even though you don't analyze or you don't have a data yet, so you can finish your chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, yeah. Chapter result je. Chapter 4 is empty because you not do test yet. Chapter 5 and 6 done. So even because one of my students, maybe Tamana from Turkey, she cannot come to Malaysia because of restriction, not yet can get. But I think she can finish the chapter 1, 2, 3, 5 and 6, just empty the chapter results. Okay. So this is the best done by asking clearly frame. Don't waste your time. 3 months MCO. Okay, you just sleep and then do not do anything. You need to write. You need to write. Just write. So you need to define a 4-part clinical questions. How to formulate the review questions? Define 4 parts. Clinical question, breaking the question down into its component parts. What is the parts? So in the questions, you have to have a PICO. P is for participants. What is the participants in your population or your review? For example, your participant, that means maybe the thoracic is your participant. Your intervention maybe they do on CT scan. The comparison, you can compare the thoracic study from CT scan and also from the other method, maybe one systematic geometric morphometric analysis, and another one thoracic another one traditional method. And then outcome. What is the outcome of your study? So when you create your question, you need or title, you need to have these four things. Okay. Contoh for example, what is the best strategy to prevent smoking in young people? Is it a good question? This is the time-consuming questions. What is the best strategy to prevent smoking in young people? The population, the P is a P apa? P dia apa? Hello? Hello? P apa? What is the best strategy to prevent smoking in young people? The time is a time-consuming questions. So we cannot, because there are many strategies to prevent smoking in young people. So you need to do a question that are answerable question. For example, are mass media or school-based or community-based intervention is effective in preventing smoking in young people? So the P is a population, is a young people. The intervention is a school-based community, school-based or community-based. The comparison is between the school-based and community-based. The intervention is a mass media. The outcome is prevent smoking in young people. So in the question must have a PICO. Participant, intervention, comparison, and outcome. Does aspirin improve survival after acute myocardial infarction? In patients with acute myocardial infarction, does daily low dose oral aspirin lead to higher survival rates as compared to placebo? That means when you do the question, you need to have PICO. So is zinc effective in treating cold? So what is P? The intervention is a zinc. The outcome is a cold. Patient is a P. So when you do, so I hope that in your mind what you want to know, then form the PICO question to form a title. So in children with cold, in common cold, is oral zinc effective in reducing the duration of symptom as compared to placebo? There is a comparison. There is an outcome. There is a P, patient, patient and problem. The children with common cold is a patient, is a P or participant. I is a intervention. They use a oral zinc effective. And the outcome is the duration, reducing the duration of the symptom, and it compared to other placebo. So in your mind must have PICO, PICO, participants, intervention, comparison, and outcome. But don't go for the time-consuming questions. So you need to, before you start, you need to have a table. This table is a PICO table, PICO chart. So you have problem or population, intervention, comparison, outcome, type study. So when you select the paper, you need to put the paper and also the table. So you read one paper, then you put this one. You put this one. Then you summarize. Okay. So now is a searching and selecting studies. Is a performing a comprehensive, objective, and reproductive search of the literature, selecting study which meet the original inclusion and exclusion criteria. Before you select your study, you need to have a inclusion and exclusion criteria. Can be the most time-consuming and challenging just in preference systematic review. So data source of the two, you need to search from the MedLife, Embase, or CNL, and you search for the paper, or hand searching, or gray literature, or from the checking reference list. Also, we can find the paper, or from the unpublished source, or from the raw data from the published trial. We can find many resources, but I mainly use this one from the electronic database. How to developing a search strategy is always necessary to strike a balance between comprehensiveness and precision when developing a search strategy. First, assessing title. When you select, when you search, usually there is a 100,000 of things in one title, but you need to see the title and also the abstract. No, don't download first the paper. Read the title and abstract first. If the title and abstract are inside your inclusion and exclusion criteria, take it. And then you download it to get a full text. Okay? And study the quality assessment. So assess each study for eligibility for inclusion, study quality, reporting finding. ID will involve 2 independent reviewers. If you have your friends also, you can ask your friends to review the paper. Validity degree, the degree to which the trial design, conduct analysis and presentation have minimized or avoided systematic bias. Okay, what is the quality scale and checklist? How to extracting data from study. So data collection form. As I said, we need to have a table. So in the table, you must have a method, participant, intervention, and outcome. So you put in the, you read one paper, so you put the notes inside the paper, the table. And then you do data analysis. The graphical display of result from the individual study, a common scale they use a forest plot. Forest plot. Forest plot is an important step which allow visual examination of heterogeneity between study. Then we have a meta-analysis. On the systematic review, we have 2. One systematic review without meta-analysis, and another one is systematic review with meta-analysis. So when an overview incorporates a specific statistical strategy, for example, the result of several studies into a single estimate. But I not teach you about meta-analysis. So systematic review do not have to have a meta-analysis. Not all the systematic review have a meta-analysis. Some have a meta-analysis, but what I did is without meta-analysis, because in meta-analysis we need to learn another statistical things. But I'm not expert in this one. There are times when it is not appropriate or possible. Section 3. So we have 5 steps of systematic review. Framing question, you follow the PICO. Identify the related review, you select you read the title and also the abstract, and then you select which one is inclusion and exclusion criteria. Summarize the evidence and interpreting the finding. So the principal finding should be related to the main question formulated in step 1. Must be answer your question formulated. Other findings should be considered secondary. Okay. Is there a risk of publication and related bias? Is the quality of the included study high enough? So limitation of the systematic review, reporting bias and the inadequate quality of primary research are potential serious problem. We sometimes don't get the paper, so sometimes we need to exclude, for example. The disseminating of research finding is not a random process, already is strongly influenced by the nature and direction of the results. So this is the flow chart of the systematic review. First is the formulate review questions, and then develop review protocol, initiate search strategy, download citation, apply exclusion inclusion criteria, and then you exclude but is not the paper is to, and then synthesize of the study, and lastly full reports. This is the Prisma 2009 flow chart diagram. So all the systematic review must have 2. One is this flow chart, another one is the table of PICOs. So first is identification. Record identified through the database searching. So any duplicate searching record will be removed, and we need to screen the records and exclude it if not is not include the exclusion and inclusion criteria. And lastly, you need to have a full text article to assess the eligibility, and study include the qualitative synthesis, and lastly study include in quantitative synthesis in the meta-analysis. Sometimes we stop here without this one. How to do strategy? You need to do few words, or and, or this one. Or mean, for example, mandible and or CT scan. Mandible or CT scan. So that means that mandible or CT scan means all the paper that code mandible and CT scan will include. If you put and, that means mandible and CT scan only in the is will be have. Or you use this one knee and also transaction. For example, lipid, you put anything of the lipid in front, that means hyperlipidemia or whatever at the back. So you just put this words, then they will include all this one, hyperlipidemia, dyslipidemia, and so on. And then that's all. Thank you. So I just show you my a few template of the systematic review. Oh, this is the systematic review from other people. Sekejap mana? So okay, this is my systematic review. No lah, ni bukan saya punya. Sekejap. I don't know which my. Okay. This is other people. I will share to you mine, but I don't see where I put it. This is the one of the systematic review in the goat meal. So we must have a topics, effects of goat meal and its products on human pathogenic bacteria. So this is the abstract. We can see what I did for the initial is I copy paste everything, then I change to mine. For example, the method we perform a systematic research of Scopus and base Medline PubMed. And so I use this template and then I change for mine. So last time I just take one of the friends systematic review, then I change mine. So for example, firstly they found 3,334, and then they will reduce it. Lastly, only 11 paper that they will analyze. And then we come up with the heading and our subheading from the paper, and then also discussion, and lastly the conclusion. Mana? I'm not sure where is my punya ni. I will share after this lah, after this. Where is my? So any question? For example, you search the how to search? Sign direct. So you can have an advanced search. For example, mandible or CT scan. So we can see at the right side, there is a 500,091 results from the mandible or CT scan. So actually, at the left side, you can see that 2021, 241 paper talk about this. 3,552 in 2020 and 2019 and so on ada banyak So we can also select which year you want from 2022 to 2000 in 10 years and so on. You also have a review articles about that. So when you read the title, sometimes it's not important. For example, Chinese expert group consensus on diagnosis clinical osteoradionecrosis of mandible. You don't want pun know about the osteoradionecrosis, for example, so you can exclude this one. Managing bone graft of the mandible, you don't want. So in the searching, you also can change it, mandible and CT scan, for example. Okay, 1,551. So in the strategy, for example, mandible fracture and dental trauma, it is not the thing that you want. Sometimes they put in the red or whatever. So in the things is you need to find out your searching words that you want to search. When you find out, you try which one is good, and then you select the paper and you form your own strategy. That's all. Oh, okay. Any questions? Right.
Aspa, I think that's very informative. Can I ask one question?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask if this systematic review, is discussion needed in the systematic review?
Yeah. There is a part for discussion in the systematic review. There is a introduction. There is a methodology. In the methodology, you need to put your prism flowchart and also your table of PICOs. And then there is a heading and subheading. And there is a discussion that summarize for example, the final is you have 11 article, the final one. So you need to summarize the 11 article in the discussion part. So how you get a heading and subheading? You get it from the paper that you from the 11 paper that you get it. Or you can get also from your question. So you elaborate more in the heading and subheading.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Dr. Aspa,
Yeah.
is Prism algorithm, so is it it's a must in systematic review?
Yeah, two things that must in the systematic review is a table of PCOS and also flowchart of the prism. Nanti I will share lah my paper. I have two paper on the systematic review. Just follow it, and then you change it according to your things lah. Any questions?
Kita kalau kita buat research tu kan, yang macam article research, if you do the initial phase in research selection, so kalau if there's any thousands of paper, maksudnya kita kena baca semua ke atau macam mana?
No. There is a strategy. The first thing I search is around 200,000. For example, I put mandible. Then I found, mandible, there is 200,000 paper that talk about mandible. So you just see first. And when you see, there is a red of mandible, there is about osteoradionecrosis, there is about CT scan, there sometimes it's not in our inclusion and exclusion criteria. So what we do, just put one keyword, mandible, 200, for example. When you read the title, it's not. So you search again, mandible and CT scan. For example, you narrow down your inclusion to exclusion criteria with your keyword. There will be narrow. At the end is 11 only. For example, my first is a 20,000 paper. So I narrow down, finally 14 only. So 14 is enough. Last the final. So you just review the 14 paper only.
I see, maksudnya from the strategy tu kita macam certified. So kita pilih whatever that suit the most.
Yeah.
Area tu macam mana? Is it necessary, not necessary? Macam, kan sometimes I have paper yang macam, is it included, not included tu? Tak perlu lah.
So depends on you, what you want to search, what you want to find. For example, I want to know the mandible on the CT scan, for example. So you search only mandible and CT scan. What the exclusion and inclusion criteria? The case report paper you don't want, you exclude. The disease about mandible you don't want, you exclude. So you need to know your exclusion and inclusion criteria before you do a searching. So your searching depends on your question and also your exclusion and inclusion criteria.
Oh, okay.
Okay? So maknanya that means that our searching will be, hello? Yeah?
Maksudnya kita buat dulu ni baru boleh faham fully kan, sebab itu dah ada macam what you're saying is the step and strategy and everything kan. So, macam bila nak buat and then baru kita fully understand kan.
Yeah.
After steps and okay.
Because you need to do, you do and you search, and then how many database you want to search. For example, PubMed, Medline, SAINS. So you go one by one. You try SAINS first. How many? Lepas tu, when you have a final one, then you see there is a duplicate. When you duplicate, then you remove. It take time, this one searching. But when you find 14 paper, for example, it's easy. Some of my friends only did in 5 paper only, the final one. But the strategy and how we conduct, we need to strategize and plan. Okay? Okay, initially it's difficult, but when you try search and so on, I think this is improve your skill. Improve your skill to read, improve your skill to select, improve your skill as we know, okay, firstly we need to read the title. After you read the title, you read the abstract. As we know, in the abstract is a IMBRAT, introduction, methodology, introduction, objective, methodology, and result and conclusion. Kan? For abstract pun kita tengok, we see just 1 second we know, oh the objective is like this, they want like this, okay? When we read the objective, only one line after introduction is an objective, we know this is is the paper that we want or not. If not, then out. Huh? Title and abstract is very important. That's why the abstract is the gist of the paper. If the paper is not good, if the abstract is not image, the paper is not good paper. So people will read the abstract only can know what is the things that you want to explain in the paper. Okay?
Okay, Dr. Aspa. Dr. Aspa, I would like to know what is actually this Cochrane? What is the important for the Cochrane?
If you go to the website of Cochrane, www.cochrane.com, they list some said that we need to register in Cochrane first before we start our systematic review to park ataupun to confirm that we will do this topic and to confirm that no people do this topic. So first, before we start our systematic review, we need to register to Cochrane. And if you go to the website of Cochrane, they tell everything about how to do systematic review, what is step, and whatever. You go to their website. So www.cochrane. So then they put everything. So read the Cochrane website also. So you know everything about the systematic review.
It's like, so we need to like register as like a member before we are starting the systematic review.
Yeah. You go to Cochrane and then you register and you said that you want to do this systematic review, then they will park your name to do this one lah. So because sometimes when we write, sometimes other people do the same thing. So problem lah. So when we park, they said there's no people do the same thing, then we can proceed.
Okay. It's like to ensure that our topic is not overlapping with the others.
Yeah.
So before we starting to write, we will put the title to confirm is that no other people are doing the same topic.
Yeah.
Okay.
But when my first and second paper, I not registered because I don't know. When Dr. Natasha, the specialist in systematic review, said you need to register, I was like, ayo, dah lepas dah publish dah, I don't know. So to tell the truth, you need to register lah. We start from the beginning lah.
Because last time in AIMS, they had some workshop or something about the Cochrane. First time I heard about it. I feel, what is this? Then I didn't join because I don't know anything what is Cochrane. Because when they all did, because the way they talk about it is not related. So I didn't join. Then only I realized, Cochrane is something related to the systematic review.
So whoever did a PhD, a master, they know lah Cochrane tu apa. If not, no, you're not a student. Now you know.
Okay, because I heard about it.
Okay. Any question from others? From Tamana, Jayong Sin, Faiz, Naraina, any questions?
No, dear Prof, I don't have any question, but it was very informative and also very interesting for me. Actually, I didn't know anything about systemic review, but now I know what's the systemic review and how I can do it, or I have information about this one. Thank you so much, dear Prof.
Alhamdulillah. At least we know lah the term of systematic review and narrative review. So when people tell about this one, we know, at least we know.
Yes, at least we know the difference between these ones, or we have a little information about it. Yes, thank you so much, dear Prof.
Okay, thank you.
I also want to thank you so much for the two lecturers, to doctors, to sharing your experience about the research area. So it was really helpful for me to actually understand and maybe adopt a new actually field. Thank you so much for today.
Okay, thank you, Jayong Sin from Korea. When you want to
Yeah.
go to Malaysia? Huh?
Oh, pardon?
When you want to come back to Malaysia? It's allowed.
Actually, I'm not sure. I want to come back soon, but I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Jayong Sun just finished your thesis, I think so. You already
almost.
almost, okay. Many
Yeah.
of some of these students are writing proposal, and some finish up the master, and some in analysis. But this knowledge is important for you to further PhD for future. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Nuraina, any words? Dr. Nuraina is a professor from UITM, a specialist in orthodontist. Aina, kita tak ada ni. Oh, she's not around. Okay. Siapa lagi, Faiz?
Yes.
Faiz? Kau kantor kau tak ada. Faiz. Okay, we have another 2 minutes before 12 o'clock. Any, maybe Dr. Choi to summarize?
Yeah, thank you everyone's time. I think this is a very good session, you know, just to, it's a very informative session, it's a very interactive session. I learned a lot of things from Dr. Aspa talk as well. I think the best way to understand is to try on, okay? I think if you wanted to understand and have a hands-on experience, try to write at least one narrative reviews and one systematic review, then you will really understand what's the difference between these two. Yeah. So I think before we end, can we take a group picture at least?
Yeah. Can.
Yeah, if you can turn on your cameras, then we can try to take a group picture. But if you don't turn on, it's still okay lah. We try to take a group picture. I think hopefully we can have more classes like that in the future. I think it's quite good to connect people from different parts of the world and then get together, right? All right. Baby. Okay, I just take a picture, yeah. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Okay, another one. 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Dr. Aspa and Dr. Celine.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for spending your time for us and everything. And I'm so sorry for lacking or our sharing is not good or whatever is from ourselves. We also a new one, but we share whatever we know lah. Okay, thank you very much, and good luck for everybody. Okay, Assalamualaikum and bye-bye.
Bye bye. Have a good day. Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you.